Hey everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies. Is that better?
That's some serious bass.
Thank you very much. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, which is called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
That's right, and this episode is entitled Shifting Focus, the Journey versus the Finish Line.
Yeah!
I love this. This is something that, and I'll be honest, this is something that I would say even fairly recently, that I've gotten to shift my focus, because I've always been finish line, finish. And then I met somebody who is a finisher,
yes.
who will specifically, if she has a task during the day, I'm like, can we go? It's like 7 o'clock at night. Can we go? I'm going to finish this. And so I've always been a finisher. I needed to finish, and I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. I was thinking about where I was going.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, because I could see the finish line. That's what I want to get to.
Yes.
And so it's just fairly recent, within the last few years, that my shift has focused to stop thinking about that. Think about where you are in the present. The journey.
Yes. Yeah. And so my focus really came. My focus shift came. What was it? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm a finish line person. That's just who I am, and I'm also somebody who will change the goal line.
Yeah, so you're a finish line person, but hey, look, there's a finish line.
Yep, I'm going to toss it out there, and I'm going to go, what's the next big goal? And I'm going to go, and then when I go hard, I go fast, and I'm focused at that finish line, getting there. And we even talked about this in a podcast for, I think, Real Talk, our other company's podcast, and we talked about the gap and the gain, and how that teaches you to not judge yourself on where you are in the process of start versus finish, but judge yourself on the progress. Well, this shift was even different, because even the gap and the gain still tells you, okay, you do have a finish line, right? It's there, right? Now this shift, and it was from talking to Annie, and I can't pronounce her last name, so if anybody wants to look her up, she's phenomenal, and I think it's sealteamleaders.com. I signed up for just an initial consultation call. I fell in love with her. I was like, oh, you're going to help me change the game in terms of some of my mindset shifts that I need to make. And I've always viewed looking at the finish line as something that's good and important, right? Because we do have a goal, and we need to get there if these companies are going to succeed. But now we're at a point building a sixth company where I was getting overwhelmed, and we hired a CEO to run the other 5 companies, and the sixth company is borrowing from the other 5 companies in order to be built, which is how we built all of them, right?
Yeah.
You always need some money to build the company, and so we took the successful company and we borrowed from it and built the next one and the next one, and we kept on going. It's tougher now that we have a CEO, and his performance is based on the performance of the companies, right? And this sixth company that we're all super excited about building is borrowing and tapping into the resources. Now, will it be a big win for the entire company as a whole as it gets built up? Oh, heck yeah. Probably a bigger win than all the rest of the 5 combined. But it's still one of those things that's just a struggle in the growth phase. So I was getting overwhelmed, not being able to move as fast as I wanted to move, and I was just like, I need a mental shift, and I do not know what it is. Sat down with Annie, and ultimately she was like, why do you focus on the finish line? And I was like, well, because when I get to the finish line, Flip and I get to relax. Right? And I haven't been relaxing, and I'd like to relax and not think about all this stuff all the time, because I'm racing to get to the finish line. And she was like, okay. So anyways, the moral of the story, or the summary of the story, is that she shifted within a sentence that I don't need to be working as hard as I need to do. It's not a race. We're already successful. The companies are going to continue to grow, whether I'm going 100 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour. So slow down and enjoy the journey. Right. And she's like, so answer all these questions for me. If you did this, would you enjoy the journey more? Would you have time to work out and pay attention to your health? Would you have time to all the things that I said I didn't have time for? She shifted it, and at the end I was going, yes, I would have time for that. I would have time for that. I'd have more time with Flippy. I'd have more time to work out. I'd have more time to focus on being healthy, to read books that I want to read, not because it's a business. And so it's just, again, I don't have to yell it from the rooftops. It's in my head now. And now I'm seriously going, hey, this is a journey. And, chill out, Danny. You're going to get to the finish line.
Right.
Just chill out and have fun doing it.
That's the thing I always used to say. It's not a 100-yard dash; it's a marathon.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because this also reminded me of it was probably 5 years ago now that we did this, but we went to Chicago to run a 10K, and it was the Big Ten 10K, and so we got our Michigan State shirts, whether she wanted to or not. She did. Even got a picture with Sparty, not my dog, the actual Sparty mascot. So it's gosh, it was in summer. It was June, I think it was. But it was like 8 a.m. On a Saturday. It was beautiful, and boom, gun goes off. We go off running, and you're running in the streets of Chicago, downtown, right on the water. And we'd be running, and all of a sudden, running. Sorry, that's a loose definition of what we were doing. We were walking fast.
I would say jogging.
Okay,
that's pretty fair.
It was a jog. Yes, there was people walking faster than us, but there we go. Anyway, but people were stopping and taking selfies, throughout the course, and like the selfies with the museum behind them, and the Chicago skyline, and Soldier Field, and is it Lakeshore Boulevard? I think that's what it is. Right there on the water, and the water, which is Lake Michigan. Yes, getting my homes here in Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior, the 5 Great Lakes.
I see.
Homes.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Pulled that one out. But we were kind of laughing. Why are people stopping to take pictures, man? Run the race, get to the finish line. And then like 6 months after the fact, like, wow, that would have been really cool if we would have gotten those pictures, the Chicago skyline with us running the race. Yeah.
Yes.
So
we got a few pictures, I think one at the start and then one at the finish line.
Those were the 2 pictures we got. Yep. One at the start, one at the finish. But it was the journey that was the really cool because of where we were, throughout the race. But anyway, that's when we talk about the journey versus the finish line. I always think about that. I'm kicking myself. I didn't take pictures during that, and it just goes into real life. I'm like, we just need to enjoy it more, and so we're not kicking ourselves later.
That's right. Yeah, I love that you shared that story, and I think it applies to everybody with their investing journey. Right? You always want things to happen now, especially instant gratification these days is just like the big thing. Everybody wants it now. So you're not going to make $10,000 in passive income a month right now, right? But if you're enjoying the journey, then you're going to listen to some podcasts, you're going to read some articles, you're going to evaluate some investments, and you're going to invest in one thing at a time, and you're going to enjoy the fact that you're that much closer to the finish line instead of being frustrated not being at the finish line. So I think it's an important lesson, and it's really changed my outlook for the last couple weeks. So I'm excited. Yeah,
it's funny, instant gratification. I ordered something the other day, and it said your order will be delivered in 3 to 4 weeks. I'm like, 3 to 4 weeks? That's like an eon for something to be delivered. I want it tonight at 8 a.m. Or is it tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.? Go on. It's like Amazon has spoiled us all. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you're heading on over to our website, freedomcapitalinvestments.com, to join our investor club. And make sure you're checking out all of our other groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, and make sure you're hitting the like button. And you're going to hit the like button because
the journey is more important than the finish line.
Oh, anyway, so make sure you're hitting the like button and that you're going to enjoy the journey.
Yes.
That's right.
That is, if you're driving and listening to the audio podcast, you don't have to hit the like button. Thank you for listening.
Yes, exactly. You can hit the like button later if you remember.
Yeah. When you jump to our YouTube channel, I always laugh because we talk about the like button. I was like, more people listen to the podcast than they do watch the YouTube videos.
Right.
But we always talk about hitting subscribe and like, and it just made me giggle that I thought I would say something this time.
So on that note, we like to end all of our episodes with
invest smart,
live happy. Bye, everybody. Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.